Meet Kutsuawa Kosei. He's what you'd call a professional loner. While the rest of his high school classmates are busy forming groups and making memories, Kosei is perfectly happy staying invisible. He doesn't spend his time on anime or sports. Instead, he's obsessed with furniture design and technical drawings, a hobby he inherited from his family's workshop. To him, the ability to talk to people is a talent he simply wasn't born with. He's convinced that he's at the bottom of the school's social caste, and the popular kids, the extroverts, are like a different species. He's sure that if he ever tried to fit in, he'd only end up being labeled creepy or gross. But one afternoon, his quiet life literally crashes into reality. Mizoguchi Seikka, the school's most popular girl and a literal fashion model, wobbles right into him on her bicycle. Kosei should be too nervous to speak, but he sees a broken bike chain and his craftsman instincts take over. In seconds, he fixes the problem. Kosei expects this to be a one-time encounter. He thinks he'll go back to being a ghost and she'll go back to being a star. But Seikka isn't like the other popular girls. She's energetic, she's thankful, and most importantly, she has a social media account with thousands of followers. The next morning, Kosei walks into a classroom on fire. A mystery video has gone viral, and every boy in school is hunting for the boyfriend who fixed Seikka's bike. Kosei is praying for mercy, hoping to stay hidden, but Seikka has other plans. She's about to shout his name loud enough for the whole world to hear. Can an invisible introvert survive being the center of attention? To find out, watch till the end, and don't forget to like and subscribe. His calm high school life as a quiet loner starts to change as he walks through the neighborhood, thinking that if there was one big moment when everything shifted, it might be happening now. Inside the room, his noisy classmates play around during cleaning time. One of them swings a broom like a baseball bat while others relax or nap, their loud laughter making him feel even more alone. At his seat, he carefully draws straight lines in a notebook, focusing on building plans and measurements with a ruler nearby. Leaning over his work with a focused smile, he whispers to himself about using paulownia wood and wooden lattices for a Dutch-style stool while his pen moves quickly. As he focuses harder, loud voices behind him brag about copying a pro pitcher's throwing style while someone else yells in anger, but he keeps his head down with a nervous half-smile. A cleaning cloth suddenly hits the back of his head with a loud thwack, shocking him and pushing him forward as he feels pain and confusion. Near the lockers, the people who did it laugh nervously when they see what happened. One still holds the broom, while another has a forced smile, realizing their throw missed the target. He turns quickly, holding the cloth and whispering to himself in shock, wondering why a dirty rag ended up in his hands. The popular boy comes over with a bright smile, apologizing lightly and waving his fingers while the quiet boy, sweating, tries to answer. He corrects his name to Kutsuawa with a shy explanation, holding the rag and feeling very uncomfortable. The friendly classmate leans on his desk and asks many questions about his drawing, insisting it must be from an anime and saying he likes popular shows, while Kutsuawa gets nervous and denies it. In another part of the room, a cheerful blonde girl is teased by friends who found a magazine picture of her with a famous model named Miko Chaso, making her face turn red with pride. Her friends gather around, surprised that a simple reader model could be next to professionals, while she sits on a desk enjoying their praise. She shyly says the photos only happened because they were at the same place, her smile appearing humble even though her eyes shine. By the windows, Kutsuawa is alone again while the talkative boy stands there. Across the room, the girls keep talking excitedly about the magazine. Kutsuawa's empty, tired face shows he has lost himself in thought again until the boy asks if he is even listening. Holding the forgotten cloth, he asks what he should do with it, still unsure why it was thrown at him. When the classmate ignores him at first, he asks again, and the boy finally looks embarrassed, turning red and puffing his cheeks. That classmate then walks off with a grin, jokingly inviting him to join the loud gossip, leaving Kutsuawa sitting awkwardly at his desk. Feeling tired, Kutsuawa sighs and decides to wash his face to get away from the noisy room as he leaves with the rag. The girls continue their loud talk, one saying the blonde girl works very hard. She then stops and looks toward the door as if she noticed him leave, her expression becoming curious. Inside the bathroom, he stands over the sink, splashing water on his face and feeling sad that he wasted a rare chance to talk to his peers. Water drips from the top as it is noted that several months have gone by since high school began. He remembers how friend groups formed early, and during activities where students had to pair up, he missed every chance to join and ended up sitting alone. Looking at his tired face in the mirror, he calls himself a loner and an introvert, feeling the weight of those words.
He wishes he had the easy confidence of the popular kids, like the trendy girls and social boys, wanting to be able to talk freely to anyone like his classmate did. He pictures himself forcing a talk with the popular group, only to receive confused looks and mean smiles that prove his worst fears. His worry grows as he imagines someone taking a photo of the weird loner and promising online to show him to the whole world. The nightmare gets worse as he sees himself tied to a post and punished for being gross, crying out in sadness that he never meant to be so creepy. Back in reality, he sits on the bathroom floor and worries not just about the popular kids, but if he even knows how to make friends.
He thinks that being able to feel happy or sad about the same things as others is like a special talent, and maybe it would be simpler if he shared a hobby with someone. Just as he wonders what to do, a voice calls out. He turns at the bathroom door, surprised that someone is looking for him specifically. The girl with glasses from the next seat, Yokura, walks up nervously but politely. She introduces herself and says sorry for the sudden request. With a sincere smile, she explains there is a favor she wants to ask of him after school, making his heart beat fast with both wonder and worry. Time passes to late afternoon. The hallway is empty and quiet at the set time. In a storage room, a wooden stool has been repaired. Kutsuawa, still holding his tools, says he has finally fixed it, while Yokura shouts in wonder. From above, the scene shows him kneeling near piles of chairs and gear. She praises how fast he fixed the broken board with nails. Though he acts humble, she looks at him with big, impressed eyes and says he is very talented with his hands. A picture of his family's shop appears as he explains that his parents own a furniture shop and he has helped there since he was a child, learning the trade. As they clean up, she admits she saw his notebook during the break and guessed he was good at this, which makes him nervous. He quietly says that designing furniture is partly for the family shop, but also a personal hobby. As he says this, a rare, real smile appears on his face. She calls it amazing and jokes that he is already a master builder, but says he can still grow, making him turn a little red. When he asks what club uses all this gear, she calmly says it is for her club as she keeps tidying the room. She says their budget is low and his repair work really helped them. He says he's just happy they are pleased. Another girl opens the door and calls Yokura to their activities. Yokura says she will come soon and thanks Kutsuawa again. Running out, she says sorry for making them wait and hurries down the hall. From the door, she yells back that he should visit their club sometime, thanking him again. Kutsuawa waves and wonders what kind of club it is, feeling curious. As he walks home, he thinks that believing they might be friends was probably too bold. He notices she is actually good at talking even though she seems quiet. He tries to look at the day in a good way, feeling a small sense of pride that he spoke to two classmates. An image of Tsunemada Castle appears as he thinks that even the one-night castle took many days to finish, and friendships are not made in one night either. Looking forward with a small smile, he decides there is no rush and tells himself there must be people he can get along with somewhere. On the street, a blonde girl rides her bike while humming a happy tune, passing him as he walks. Close-up shots show her hand on the grip, the sound of her pedaling, and her lips continuing the song. He looks at the sky where clouds look a bit like the Toyotomi family symbol, finding the thought funny. Then he tells himself it's nonsense. He jokes that if he were as good at making people like him as Toyotomi Hideyoshi, life would be easier. Suddenly, her front wheel slips and the bike shakes, making her scream as she heads straight toward him. He turns around quickly in shock, stretching out both arms and shouting for her to be careful while she screams in fear. A loud crash happens, showing the hard hit as everything turns dark for a second. When she can see again, she is on the ground, breathing hard and thinking she was in big trouble, before realizing in surprise that she is not hurt. Behind her, his back is stiff and shaking as he holds the bike basket with both hands. Since he took the force of the hit, she looks up surprised with big eyes and red cheeks, finally seeing that he protected her. He leans forward, gasping for air and finding it hard to talk as pain spreads in his stomach. Still, he manages to ask weakly if she is all right. Above them, under the sky and wires, she shouts her thanks, saying he really saved her. On a bench nearby, she stands behind him while he leans over, feeling sick but saying he is okay, as she wonders how he ran so fast. He looks back at her, noticing she is part of the popular group in class and messing up her name, nervously guessing it is Deguchi. She fixes his mistake with a lively introduction as Oguchi Seikka, holding out her hand with bright, kind eyes. Still on his knees, he says sorry many times as she explains that Doguchi is her friend, not her, which makes him bow even lower because he's embarrassed. He is horrified that he got the name wrong of someone so popular. Drops of sweat roll down his face.
In his head, he dramatically grabs his tie and asks his parents to forgive him for dying before they do. She shouts in disbelief at how he is acting, but instead of being mad, she just laughs. She says she doesn't understand his behavior but thinks he is funny, which surprises him because she isn't angry. She happily says that since she gave her name, it is only fair for him to tell her his name too, making him pause. Thinking it would be mean to just walk off, he gathers his courage and starts to answer. While she fixes her dropped bags, he says his name is Kutsuawa, still sounding shy. She quietly says his name as if thinking about it, her face becoming serious. He explains how to write it using the symbols for health and life, wondering why she is acting strange as she thinks about it next to her bike. He imagines a bad situation where her friends attack him with weapons, accusing him of bothering Seikka just because he helped her. Sure that it is safer to leave, he makes himself smile and says he is going, thinking to himself that they probably won't talk again. As he turns to leave, she follows him on her bike, calling out in confusion while he freezes, realizing she is still right behind him. Her bike pedal hits the ground as she stops and he sees something fell off the bike. From a far view, she yells that her pedal fell off and he quickly offers in a nervous voice to fix it. He changes his mind about staying away. Kneeling by the bike, he works on the chain and thinks that even though he had bad thoughts about her before, her honest apologies show she is actually a good person. As he fixes the bike, he remembers hearing that she's a model, someone famous he never thought he would talk to. After finishing, he says the chain is back on. She gives him lots of praise, calling him a god for fixing it so fast. Then she kneels in front of him with her phone, excitedly asking if she can post that amazing move on Twista. He is shocked to realize she is recording without asking. He stammers that he would prefer she didn't post it online, feeling very anxious about the attention it might get. She gives a happy smile and tells him it is okay because his face isn't in the video. Her kindness makes it hard for him to say no. Unable to fight her social energy, he thinks of himself as a shy person who gives in easily and quietly says yes. She happily says it is safe because only her friends see that account, not noticing he is still worried. Then she suddenly thinks she might have made a mistake, but she quickly laughs and says it is probably fine. He looks at her laughing with a worried face, thinking she is talking nonsense, but he chooses to believe her when she says his face is hidden anyway. With a tired smile, he finally says goodbye for real, mentioning that the chain was old and might need to be replaced, while she answers with a lot of excitement. As he leaves, he sighs and says he does not understand how social people think, deciding instead to go home early and sleep. But when he looks back, he sees she is following a bit behind him, walking her bike on the same thin path. His eyes get big as he realizes she is really following him, which makes him feel stiff and sweaty. Walking together on a neighborhood street, she asks if his home is close, while he panics inside about her finding out where he lives. He says slowly that it is within walking distance. Feeling trapped even though he is being nice, she laughs and says he is lucky to live so near the school. She wishes she had it that easy, her smile looking natural. Where the roads split near the mirrors, he nervously says he goes this way, worried she might follow him all the way to his house. She keeps walking her bike behind him, saying she has never gone this way before, while he thinks in fear that she is definitely following him. Then she smiles and says she was just kidding, explaining that her own path goes that way instead. Waving with a fun smile, she shouts that she will see him tomorrow, which makes her feel a bit confused. He says he will see her then too, still not knowing how to act with someone so friendly.
When he finally gets to his street, he sighs with relief, thinking people like her do not understand personal space. He whispers that he really thought she would follow him all the way home, still thinking about what happened. At the corner, she suddenly remembers something important and says she forgot it. Leaving her bike leaning there, she runs down the alley, her steps hitting the ground fast. She reaches him and yells his name, making him turn around quickly while holding his bag to his chest. Tired but smiling, she gets close and says she forgot to thank him, right? Then smiles big as she says thanks for fixing the bike. From a bit away, she bows low while he stands there awkwardly, saying yes and asking what is happening. She points up, lifts her hand, and says she wants a high five to celebrate, which leaves him confused. Their hands hit together many times in excited high fives as she shouts happy thanks, and he wonders what is going on. Seeing her laugh, he thinks she might really be a nice person and feels bad for what he thought of her before. As she waves and says she will see him, he smiles for real and says you do not know what people are like until you talk to them, then says goodbye. As he leaves, she watches him with a kind smile and says his whole name to herself, liking how it sounds. She gets a secret smile and whispers to herself, wondering if what she is thinking is actually true. The story moves to the next morning at school, with sun shining on the windows. Kutsuawa opens the classroom door and hears a lot of excited talking. He sees a group of boys talking loudly at the front and thinks the room is very noisy today. Yokura says hello kindly as soon as he enters, and he says good morning back normally. He is surprised that he could talk so easily as soon as he arrived. He puts his bag down and tells her the class is louder than usual, which makes her look at the noisy group. He finds out that a boy was seen on Mizuguchi's social media account, which makes him feel scared.
Yukura checks her phone nervously, saying she found the post while he really hopes it is not him. On the screen, the video shows his back while he fixes the bike, with words saying a boy from her class helped her, making him realize it is definitely him. One boy looks at him with doubt and asks if he's alright because he looks pale, while he wonders if Mizuguchi's earlier nonsense was about this. Kutsuawa leans over his desk, sweating and whispering that he is okay, even though he feels like he might get sick. Yokura quietly notes that his condition looks like the opposite of okay. Around the room, different students respond to the video. Some call boys weird and lonely, while others promise not to let anyone bother Mizuguchi as he worries about being found out in this growing trouble. He pictures himself tied to a pole and punished as the group blames him, sure that if they realize it is him, he will be socially destroyed. Right then, Mizuguchi enters with a cheerful hello, and the boys instantly look at her, shouting and asking about the video. She walks by him to her seat while he hopes she won't talk to him, feeling that even a simple chat from her is risky at this moment. At the same time, some boys stare angrily and insist on knowing who the person in the video is, saying the search will go on until they find him. Mizuguchi answers with a bright smile, thanking Kutsuawa loudly for yesterday and saying hi to him before everyone, basically telling them it was him. He feels defeated inside as the sound of failing his trial rings in his head while the class gets noisier. A series of pictures shows her video with thankful words spreading quickly among students, causing many wrong ideas. Kutsuawa worries in a funny way, sweating and trembling as he sees how serious the situation is now. A few scary boys yell his name and tell him not to escape while he thinks that he is in giant trouble. At his seat, Mizuguchi thanks him happily again while the whole class watches, and he feels a strong weight from their stares. Another student says hi to Mizuguchi in the walkway, and she answers normally as everyone realizes Kutsuawa is the person from the clip. Her tall friend Miyasaka says it seems busy so early, and she mentions he's the one who tossed the cloth yesterday, which makes Kutsuawa nervous. In the back, students loudly joke with Miyasaka about how he and Mizuguchi became so close, telling him he's very brave.
Mizuguchi stares angrily and says it is none of their business, while the boys whisper in their own defense that it really is just a random event. Showing her phone, she explains that she noticed Mizuguchi's post while looking at class accounts, so seeing it was truly an accident. Other students right away call her a stalker, while she nervously says it was just luck and denies having any weird plans. Someone pushes the phone forward, showing Kutsuawa repairing the bike, and asks directly if they are dating. That was exactly what the boys had wanted to believe. Kutsuawa, feeling mixed up, argues that seeing each other on the street was just a chance meeting, not planned. Miyasaka gets very angry, wanting a better answer and yelling because he doesn't believe such a weak reason. When Mizuguchi asks why he is the one complaining, he stops, finding it hard to say what he feels. Turning a bit red, he starts to say it is because he himself, but someone interrupts him. Right then, Doguchi and Sonota arrive with a loud good morning for Seikka. Entering the stressful room, they see Kutsuawa leaning over and want to know who he is. While Sonota wonders what the noise is for, Doguchi quickly sees he's the boy from the famous video yesterday, proving everyone was right. Mizuguchi quickly says he just helped her on the street and she accidentally shared the video publicly, which makes doubting classmates ask if that is the whole story. The mood slowly gets better as some boys whisper sorry, though they still stay away from him. Mizuguchi gets up, saying she must go because class is starting, and Kutsuawa can only whisper a quiet okay. Leaning in, she whispers that she wants to talk later because she still owes him for his help, and he keeps thinking about what she said. From across the room, Miyasaka squints his eyes, quietly watching them with a serious face that is hard to understand. Time moves forward to almost midday as the clock gets close to lunch. After the teacher finishes the lesson, Kutsuawa stops writing notes and the students get ready for their lunch break. Mizuguchi appears happily in front of his desk, calling his name with lively waves. With a playful smile, she leans on the desk and asks what he usually has for lunch, clearly planning something. She suggests that if he usually eats cafeteria food, she could buy him a meal to pay him back for yesterday, leaving him confused by such sudden kindness. He says sorry and tells her he brought his own lunchbox today, holding the wrapped box up. When she finds out he made the lunch himself instead of his mother, she looks truly impressed and shocked. Doguchi hears this and shouts loudly, amazed that Kutsuawa can cook, which surprises both of them. Mizuguchi quickly explains that Doguchi is actually her friend's name, not her own, which makes him feel embarrassed. The friends joke about who the real Doguchi is while a teacher watches, entertained and a bit confused by the arguing. A part of the story introduces Sonota and Doguchi Chika correctly as they talk about a fake Doguchi outside, then tell everyone to hurry and eat. Someone jokes that Seikka probably wants Kutsuawa's homemade lunch, which she strongly denies while waving her arms around. Sonode thinks for a moment and decides that they should all eat together instead. Soon, the four of them sit at desks pushed together, saying, "Let's eat" at the same time.
As they open their different lunches, Kutsuawa wonders nervously how he ended up sharing a meal with them. Feeling many people watching their table, he feels jealous looks from classmates who think he is showing off, making him pull back a little in his seat. Trying to be nice, he says that Mizuguchi's self-made lunch is impressive, noticing her hard work. Sonode says that cooking fish is a lot of trouble as she carefully breaks a piece in her own lunch. Mizuguchi explains that her meal uses fresh salmon and an easy recipe, making Sonode want to try it later. Curious, Kutsuawa asks if Sonode also makes her own lunch, and she answers that she actually makes two because her boyfriend always wants one. Another boy at the table awkwardly realizes he made a mistake by suggesting modern girls should cook, which causes nervous laughter. Mizuguchi leans toward Kutsuawa and whispers that Sonode secretly likes making them even though she complains, and she also loves showing off her relationship. Sonode immediately tells them to stop the romantic talk and reminds them that talking about boyfriends should not take over the meal. She then turns to Doguchi, asking playfully what she would do once she gets a boyfriend, suggesting the answer is clear. Mizuguchi puts her hands on the desk and answers back that it is normal to think about those things, wondering why everyone is making such a big deal. In her dream, she sees herself surrounded by flowers, feeling dizzy with joy at the thought that having a boyfriend one day would mean finding her one true soulmate.